Howdy, folks. Craig Levati here with the Houston Museum of Natural Science and the Beyond Bones podcast. This week, we're talking to Ruth Cañas from the Adult Education Department. She's in charge of coming up with all kinds of really cool field trips and lectures for you guys. Let's check it out. Howdy, folks. Craig Levati here with the Houston Museum of Natural Science. This is, of course, the Beyond Bones Zoomcast podcast, whatever you want to call it. As always, I am joined by my learned co-host, Kat Havens.
Howdy, howdy. How are you doing?
I'm very, very good. Got new surroundings, sort of.
I see that. You have an island in your kitchen.
Now, I'm on an island to myself. And are you teaching summer school right now? Summer camps?
I'm not teaching them, but I'm definitely helping out. And we are just busy down here with lots of kiddos. And it is really kind of awesome. I'm not going to lie. Lots of good energy.
There's a new energy at the museum when we do have summer camps. You know, it's lively, it's fun. And you also notice there's like kids that are having like that first brush with independence a little bit away from their parents. Like, I'm at school, but it's not school. So it's fun. Today's episode is really cool because we are joined by Ruth Cañas. And if you know Ruth, you know that she is the Adult Education Program Manager here at HMNS. And Ruth, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, Ruth.
Literally half of the department.
That's you guys do a lot of cool work. And me and producer Johnny, about a month or so ago, we got to see firsthand some of the fun stuff that you guys do. We traveled with the adult education group y'all have to the West University sewage treatment plant. And there's a really cool video out on YouTube somewhere and all over social media. And it was really interesting. Johnny went back like 5 times because he just loves sewage. And he made a really cool video. And it shows exactly what the adult education department loves to do. And that's showing people science in their own backyard. And that's why I wanted to have you on
sewage.
Here. Not just playing with sewage. It's not just a public works department. We don't just, hook you up and take you to a sewage plant. But there's a lot of really cool things the adult education department does. You guys go on field trips like that. That was the Saturday morning at the sewage plant. And you guys have tons of stuff you've done in the past. And now, with the COVID restrictions starting to ease off a little bit, we're starting to do stuff in person again. What do you guys have in store for 2021?
Oh, we still have. So our next big lecture will be in July. So just newly posted on the website is our T-Rex week. So it's not just adult ed. Right. It's like museum, Herman Park and Sugarland and virtual events. And in T-Rex week, because Shark Week's cool, but T-Rexes are a little bit bigger. On the 13th, we're having one of the paleontologists that helped put together the exhibit of Victoria that he'll be zooming in from Germany, which is why it's at lunchtime that we're having this lecture. So he'll be talking about not just what it takes to create that kind of an exhibit, but why some things are put into the exhibit and what's left. So you get really a behind the scenes of what it takes to put an exhibit together and why you see, as the end result user, why you see what you get to see. So that's our next big lecture. And then we have obviously things on dinosaurs. Kat has another CSI class coming up on blood spatter. So if you ever wanted to know how to work a crime scene, she's your girl. We have Sleuths and Secrets. We have, the very, very last Death by Natural Causes behind the scenes tour with Nicole Temple, who's one of the curators of it. So that'll be on the 17th. So, and that's just in July. We also have the Wallbridge Bat Boat Tour, but I think that's already sold out.
Wow.
Ooh.
And that's just July.
So I would take a boat to the Bat Bridge over there off of Waugh at Allen Parkway and show everybody the amazing smell of bat guano.
It's very distinct. We go from wastewater to bat guano. Yes, so there's a theme.
Y'all are making me worry.
That's what's so cool about it, because we have all these different classes. Obviously, Kat's CSI classes, which for you true crime podcast folks, true crime readers, things like that, you can actually get a hands-on idea of what that process is like through HMNS and through CAT. And, all these really fun field trips. It's like a different thing to do on a Saturday. Some people go to a farmer's market, or you could go on a field trip with HMNS to the sewage plant, but get away from the sewage plant for a few minutes. What other things that you guys have planned? What other little field trips can we imagine seeing in the future?
We have a raptor tour that we've scheduled that is coming in August, which we're super excited about, because who doesn't love birds of prey? And to be able to see them up close and interact with it's like the raptor. I don't know if it's just a rehab center, but we'll be going there. So, we just have a lot of everything. We have a big trip coming up. So going to Egypt in October, hopefully still. We don't know yet. For sure.
That's another part of the adult education department, is that you guys are going to start ramping up international travel again.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Hopefully, one of the PR social media guys can, maybe go.
No, I was just about to say I'm working on getting promoted to chaperone.
Yeah.
I definitely deserve that.
I need to go so I can take pictures for Twitter. Yeah.
So you can really show people on the ground, this is what the trips are about.
This is how cool the adult education department is. And then I think, don't you have to get a lot of shots to go overseas like that?
Actually, no. I think for that one, it's just your standard travel shots. So make sure you've got TB,
yellow fever,
tetanus,
TB,
malaria.
Yeah. I already have all my shots, so I get to go.
Cat's moved up on the list.
I need to get more. Yeah, as if I hadn't had enough shots over the past year. So
right.
There we go. So you've been with the museum now going on 5 years in the adult education department.
Yeah.
Just, it's really interesting that, we have obviously our stuff for families, and there's kids and, kids of all ages, because all of you guys, when you come to the museum, you turn into children, whether you know it or not.
I act like a 3-year-old anyway. So
yeah. I'm a high 7. I'm a 7-year-old most days.
I'm like, ooh, shiny 3.
There's just so many cool, opportunities for adults at the museum. It's a good place to meet people. It's a good place just to, fellowship with your fellow science lovers, nerds. And it's really cool. I love the adult education stuff, and I love, helping you guys out with everything. What else is down the line? What else are you planning? Don't look to the right. Don't look to the screen.
I'm looking at the calendar.
You're trying to look at your cheat sheet. So what else do y'all looking at? What are some things that we could possibly see in the future?
Well, we are definitely bringing in, now that we've got a lot of people vaccinated, we are looking at bringing back in more in-person classes. So all of CAT's classes so far are scheduled to be in person, which is nice, but we still want to keep this virtual format because we like being able to have people from all over the globe really join us for lectures. And then also too, to be able to buy the ticket for the lecture. And if you can't make it, well, that's no big deal because they're recorded and then you get to watch them later on your own time. But we're trying to get a good mix of things that adults would like, and adults, we're saying really ages from, 18 to 80. We really want to be able to have, lots of people that have been in their industries or in their careers for a really, really long time that have all this experience and all this knowledge. We want to be able to still bring content that they enjoy, and they seem to enjoy for the most part, lots of astronomy, paleontology, but like specific topics, like real kind of deep dive topics on those. But then we want to open it up and make sure that we're still also bringing in younger people that are maybe just starting to be interested in different levels of science or different areas of science, or bringing in former eco-teens that now they're doing all this really cool research. We had a lecture last night that had former eco-teens telling us about what they're doing now, and it's amazing. It's amazing how smart these young adults are, like beyond.
Eco-teens is our teen volunteer program for those of our listeners or watchers that may not be aware of that. And so that's the cool the cool thing about that. And we do have some that really make me go, wow, what have I done with my life?
Exactly.
These kids are amazing, and they're not kids anymore, but it's outstanding.
They're all kids. When you're in your 40s, they're all kids.
They are all kids. Everybody's a kid to me. Craig's a kid. You're a kid.
Yeah, so it's almost like growing with the museum. Like you visit it when you're a little kid, you like it for certain things, big, cool stuff. You might come when you're a teenager and do maybe eco-teen things or summer camps or whatever. And then you move on. And as you get older, like you're always welcome back to come do adult things. So they've got not just adult ed, but just our membership department does a really good job with having things like yoga with the dinosaurs and just having events where it's really come back to the museum, come see what it's about, come see all the cool stuff that we're doing that you might have not thought about. Like most of the people, we really thought that the wastewater treatment plant was going to be, maybe 2 tickets sold, but people want to know, like, where does our water get cleaned?
Right. No, it's kind of cool. It's big scale too, right? I mean, it's a pretty big place. I haven't watched the whole video yet, but now I'm going to have to.
Well, it also gives you a breadth and an idea of just how much science is around us we wouldn't think of. I know for the wastewater plant, Johnny was telling me that when he went in there, some of the offices over there looked like it was a chemistry lab because they're having to test the water. You're having to test fluids and all kinds of things like that. So the cool part about the adult education department is that you guys are sort of opening these doors to people that normally they wouldn't get to go behind, and they could actually see, okay, there is science involved in a wastewater plant. There's a rhyme and reason to these things, and it's not just flipping switches. There's actually somebody using their brain, using math, using science, of fundamentals to make the world turn.
Yeah,
especially for something like wastewater. Yeah. And and to your point about, bringing people back in, there's plenty of people in our audience that aren't even listening that just go to the museum that probably have so many things they could share with their fellow patrons.
Yeah, we have so many people that are part of the museum, whether they just come as visitors that just have knowledge in their heads, or like our volunteer department that sometimes will ask those docents to lead tours for us. So behind the scenes tours, because they just know. And then, or if they don't know, they learn about it and they do just such a deep dive into it that there's no way that Sarah and I, the department of 2, that ever, like, we have such a good network of people that we can ask to help us out, to then bring really good content to just people that are curious. Like, if you're curious, then you're basically great. We want you to come check something out. Cause that's, I would say, the one thing that ties everybody together of all our programs, whether they're behind the scenes tours, hands-on classes. We're really trying to do a new program that's kind of a Mystery Science Theater 3000 that COVID kind of got in the way of, but doing, trips and going to the Raptor Center, going to the wastewater treatment center, all these things, having online happy hours. The thing that the overarching theme of all of that is, like, people are just curious. They're just curious. They want to see, like, how does this tie to this? And then this other thing, like, get pulled into it because it's just interesting. And it's, in the times now of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, that everything's like in 15-second chunks of grabbing your attention. We want to take that and just expand it a little bit more.
I've enjoyed the happy hours. I've done a couple of those for you, at least being the opening, like, person, and then you have your local person. The cheese one was amazing.
Yeah, the cheese one was really good.
What that was about and what the happy hours are like?
So the happy hour, so the first one I think you did for us was pairing decomposition of bodies to compost, and a compost service that is here in Houston, that is a business that I can't remember the guy's name, but he started it during the pandemic.
You remember
the business.
Happy Earth.
Happy Earth.
Happy
yes.
Earth, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We
And
still want to
Pat
get
talked
them.
About,
we want we still want to get them on the podcast. They're just super busy. So it's like, Happy Earth guys, if you're listening, we still, the invitation is still open. We don't bite. We don't bite too hard, but
we did human composting is
human composting with
backyard, which is a thing. It is a thing.
Yeah.
And then I got to talk about Viking cheese and the cheese one.
And that was with the Dairy Maids, the Houston Dairy Maids. You can find them online. Just Google Houston Dairy Maids. They do really good work out here. You can find them at farmers markets, and it's local cheese. So,
but it was also just fun. It's just kind of a fun, cool little thing that you wouldn't have suspected would have been so informative.
And the one last week, it was with Christine Ha.
Of the blind goat.
Yeah,
she was the MasterChef, season 3 winner. So. Yeah, we talked about how she, her process, her creative process in just making the food that she makes, given that I forget what it was that happened, but she had her sight, and then through something that happened, that she lost her sight and really having to relearn how to do everything, and then becoming the winner on MasterChef with that. And then opening her own restaurant, writing a cookbook, it was just phenomenal. Just the way she broke down pho, the individual flavors of pho. I was I never thought about that. I could see now how you would put all these little things together and you would get that flavor of pho. Because for me, I'm just I eat it. It's delicious. So.
Well, that's
as you can tell.
And I'm so basic, I still call it pho sometimes, and my daughter gets really irritated at me.
That's the thing that I think that we would, not to go on a tangent, but really taste and flavor. That's chemistry, right? Right, Kat? That's
it's chemistry, biology also. And it's really more complicated too. We thought it was really simple, where you had these different spaces in your mouth that had receptors for certain things, and to some extent that's true, but it's more complicated, just like everything.
It's mental too. There's certain things taste better if you have really fond memories attached to it, or it tastes bad if you have a bad memory attached.
Or if you make if you make mashed potatoes green, people think they're gross and they don't taste good. There's psychology, biology, chemistry, the whole 9 yards when it comes to
believe me, I was a child in the 90s when they decided they were going to make purple and green ketchup. And I guess apparently they were having a hard time getting kids to eat ketchup. And so Big Ketchup decided, hey, let's just throw some food coloring in there.
Because what's better for kids than a lot of food coloring?
Get a lot of food coloring to make ketchup purple or green.
Did you eat that?
Did you eat it? Yeah.
No, I was the age that was geared towards, but I was kind of I don't know what that's weird. It looks like some sort of astronaut food or something, but not fun. I don't know. But even then, that's the thing. You're right. If you change the color of a food, sometimes it completely throws people off.
We do that in our kitchen chemistry camp here, where we, do different experiments. And one of them is, we encourage them to try different things, things they might not, and Culinary Hero too. But we do one where we change the color and see, record the results.
Green mashed potatoes wouldn't be so bad. Talking a natural green, or are we talking like
neon
green?
Neon green. It ends
neon
up being
green?
Robot green when you're done with it.
I would think I would go lime or something, or it's
and then you get a salty, starchy. Yeah, it's just it's unexpected.
And that's
would they know that it's mashed potatoes before they taste it, or they just see something green and then they eat it?
They know it was mashed potatoes. Yeah. And in the Culinary Hero class too, we make them do you're talking about what that chef did, competitions where they have to use certain items. And I used to be the judge, and then I started just disappearing when it was time to ask, because it was so much fun and they loved it. But I was like,
Well, that's another thing, Ruth, that I think we were talking about one time, that it's also part of the adult education group is realizing that the audience is changing, and there's certain things you can talk about now that maybe 10 years ago were a little bit not as safe.
Yeah, for sure.
More taboo, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely with the happy hour pairings that, I mean, you know, you wouldn't really joke about, oh, we're going to have an event where you can have alcohol, composting,
and dead people
decomposing and the stages of decomposition. So, but now it's, I don't know, people
are
I think
creepier.
As a whole, yeah, they are creepier, which I personally like.
Yeah.
So
they're
long
just
as
more
it's
open
like,
about they're just more open about being creepy.
It's good for us. It's good for business.
Yep.
Yes, for sure. So, because it engages that curiosity. So I also think I think by having so there's like the science of it, and then there's the lighter, funny side about whatever that same topic is, just really has people, I don't know. I feel like people really enjoy that because it's not just hard science, you know, textbook. We're going to be going deep dive for things that you can't understand unless you were part of that world already. But that light side brings in like all the puns, all the jokes, all the playfulness of it, that it's like, okay, this might not be the world that I'm from, but now I can understand it and relate to it because I can understand
it makes it more approachable.
Jokes to it. Yeah,
it makes it more approachable. And like people, I love my classes. Sorry, Craig. No,
I think it's people are just more adventurous now too.
Yeah.
And curiosity, since we have so much information in front of us just at all times, we're trying to dig deeper.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And like the cool thing, I'm so ecstatic last Thursday to get back and do an in-person class. Like I was super excited. It gave me all this energy. And one of the things I've noticed over time, and it was true Thursday night too, is there's a couple of different groups that just really make me glad when I see them. We've had several people on date nights come to
a CSI
class, like legit. And then to my particular classes, we have a lot of young people. When I say young people, like seniors in high school that will come on their own because they're actually interested in finding out what it's about because they want to perhaps pursue that as a career. And I just think that is the most amazing thing. And it makes me really glad. So we had 2 of them in this past class that are thinking about going to college to pursue a degree in forensics of some sort.
Nice.
Didn't we see one time, because you were having a dissection class and there were like couples that were there and like it was like first or second date or something. And
it was your shark. You did shark dissection.
Yeah, I don't think it was me that did the shark dissection because I like bones. If it has any flesh, it's not my thing. But yes, we did have a couple on their like second date that came to it because I think it was Stephanie, our shark expert that we had on the podcast.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And she was telling me about it because she thought it was super cute. And I even took a picture with one of my date couples. They were like, "Can we get a picture with you?" I was like, "Sure." I'm a HMNS local celebrity, and it makes me smile.
Are we ever going to do the HMNS happy hours in person, or is that an option?
We want
eventually?
to.
Okay.
Yeah, we do want to transition to that just because we think that obviously being in person and having the topic plus whatever it is you're having. So like with Christine, she had stuff from Zinchow that people could go and buy. With the Dairy Maids, there was like a little kit that you could go and buy. With St. Arnold's, there was like a 6-pack of beer that you could buy, and they would go through those things specifically. That I think virtual, it's like, it's okay virtual, like it's as good as you could do it virtual, but it'd be different being in person and being able to have those conversations in person while they're sharing. I mean, you know,
a fellowship
with Kat, we don't want her to bring anything that's decomposing, but
just pictures of that. I can bring the end result.
There's a fellowship that is attached with that as well. Like, hey, I met this person at an HMNS happy hour, or I met you at the sewage plant, right? Yeah, right. Cool. Our kids should play together.
Mom, where did you meet? At the sewage plant.
Right. Let's have a play date. Yeah, totally.
I think I saw 1 or 2 couples there. Johnny, I think so, right? We saw like a few couples. You could definitely tell it was like they were dressed up like they were going to go do things afterwards, like Saturday clothes, like it was probably they were going to go get drinks later on, and they're over there looking down at muck. And
I'd be like, you might want to shower and change and start all over after that.
Before you go to the pool party, please go back home, wash your clothes 3 times, and then.
Was it really that fragrant?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it was also like, it wasn't like it was unexpected. It was more of like, that's normal.
I grew up near a sewage plant, and there were days when you could smell it, but most of the time, and I even rode my horse back there because it was on the bayou. Most of the time, it didn't really smell.
Yeah, I think if they're doing their job
from the street. Yeah, if they're doing their job, like Craig said, because they've got all those people testing it every hour or whatever it is. That you shouldn't be able to. It isn't once like when we were there. There's like getting close to the vats. Mm-hmm. Then you could smell it, and then when you were in the center and you were surrounded by the vats, it's pretty.
I'm fascinated how they're testing sewage water now, and sort of like for the pandemic. When the pandemic was in full swing, and how they're now starting to test it and use it for other things. For the health of the population and stuff. Did they talk about that at all? I should have gone on the field trip. I'm sorry.
I don't remember. No. I don't remember if he did or not. I know somebody brought that up. I think I brought up how many shots do you need, like if you were to fall in or something. I think he was like, you're probably gonna. You don't need to worry about shots after that. You'll wish that you were dead. I can't remember if they said that or not, that they were doing testing there.
Yeah,
maybe at another plant.
Well, they do the different plants to see like the levels of viral load that they had to tell about the overall health of the population in that area that is serviced by it. I just think it's cool. I don't think he covered that, but that gives Johnny another reason to go back. Johnny, go back to the plant.
He's like, no, dear Lord, no. How can people, if somebody works at some place cool, is there a way to get in touch with you and say, hey, Ruth, I work here and we do this and we'd love to have you on a Saturday morning?
Yes. Send us an email at aed@hmns.org. Yes, we welcome all. The wastewater was actually, we went on the High Island birding trip, and there was a participant that went on that she had also done the Whiskey Ridge fossil tour that we did last year or the year before that. And she was the one that suggested, she was like, when can we visit a recycling center or, wastewater treatment? And Sarah and I were like, we're taking notes. Hold on, let me put that in my phone.
Recycling center sounds really cool.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to, which one to go to, because we want to be able to have modern equipment, and then also maybe some, if they still have some kind of, older equipment, more of a little museum-y equipment that's there. But yeah, we're still trying to figure that out. But we want your ideas, because we want to take you where you want to go. Because there's ideas that Sarah and I have, and then there's ideas that we'll get from other people at the museum that we'll ask them and they'll tell us, or we'll start asking people questions about, what do you know a lot about, or what are you interested in, or what could you teach? And it's not just for ideas for what to do, but it's also where we might tap you as a teacher or a tour guide for something. But we also want to get ideas from people, like, what do you want to go do? What do you want to go see? Because, we want to be able to provide those experiences for you. Because we know Craig, like, we've got you slated. We're like, okay, we know Craig's very into sports and Sahil's really into sports. And so we're figuring out ways to be able to attend games with the two of y'all. So that might be coming down. So
do a sports physics class.
Yeah. I mean, Sahil did a happy hour on scoring a baseball game. And I'm like, wow, I go. And I'm just like, I go to watch and I go to eat. That's what I do. But what's actually happening, what the specific things that are happening on the field, that's not me. That's not why I'm there. But the people that join
sister.
Yeah, the people that joined the call, though, that joined the happy hour for that, like, they were so interested in that. And they were, we'd love to be able to do that live with you. And I was like, when pandemic is over, that would be cool to have the class and then take as part of the field trip to go see an event and go actually score an event the way that you learned in the class. So
we can y'all could just go with me to a tattoo shop one day while I'm getting like filler done on my legs.
Totally. Yeah. So being able to see that.
Charge people to do that. Why not?
Yeah. Being able to see that, actually also in that same way it's also like being able to share local artists that you really like, because once you find somebody that you really like, you're more likely to go back to them for more work. So
I think a history of tattooing might be a great class idea that would really take off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a history of
sure.
Craig's tattoos. And
we can map your life on your
I'll put on
your
short
tattoos.
shorts. I'll put on short shorts and the sleeveless shirt. And you'll have one of those pointers, like a laser pointer.
The laser pointer.
Why is that? Or when did you get that? But that is another thing too. There are certain aspects, like little cultural things like that, which you want to, it's a cultural affect, I guess, that people probably would never walk into a shop themselves, maybe a piercing shop, or maybe even like for religious purposes, maybe like henna or something like that. They won't know how that works. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that because of this, but
just even having something on the art of, because people have, since humankind began, people have adorned their bodies and have altered their appearance. And, it just would be, Dirk would totally be into that too.
Do you think that people would pay to see me give Craig a prison tattoo?
Sure.
No, please don't. No.
Like, sure.
No, we're not doing stick and pokes.
Raffle tickets. And
we're not doing stick and
winner
pokes.
gets to choose. Winner gets to.
I'm very committed to the museum. I'm very committed.
You get
Why aren't you, Craig?
There would be people who would go to, because we have such a diverse crowd that comes to the museum that everybody would be, there's something for everyone. There would be.
There is.
I would love, I was going to say, like, going even to a brewery and seeing how the beer is made. I've done that with my friends at St. Arnold just for when I was a reporter, going over there and like seeing how things are bottled. That's crazy.
And I feel like we did that in the past, like Oktoberfest.
Yes. When we did Oktoberfest, so we would do cultural feasts as well.
That's right.
Those were fun.
Now that things are settling down again and we can have groups hanging out together, that was one of our most popular things, was doing Oktoberfest with St. Arnold's and being able to actually take the tour and go into the place. You probably saw it, Craig, because you went as a reporter, but being able to go on the tour and into locations that even on the public tours that you don't get to go see.
Yeah, that's sort of those things that I think there's like, it'd be kind of cool to see over off Washington. There's the bread bakery. I've always wanted to
smell that sometimes. Yeah,
that would be cool to go see. I'm just throwing out ideas now.
It's like how it's made. I wish we had a crayon factory.
Oh man, that was my favorite Mr. Rogers episode.
Well, mine too.
There's a lot of strange, I don't mean strange like as in bad, but there are a lot of manufacturing plants in this area that people just don't even, you probably drive by all the time and you have no clue what's even made there.
Yeah.
The coffee plant, because I can smell that on I-10.
Nice.
Sometimes. Yep.
We have there's a lot of friends in the museum too that roast coffee or that have big roasteries and things like that. They would love to show that. And,
ideas.
So what
Ruth,
you're saying is that I'll be receiving an email from Craig Flavati with all these awesome ideas.
I think that's great.
Yes,
Craig, write them
down.
all
your ideas. Oh, because you had the, which I just think that it just wasn't the right time when it happened. But weren't you the one that suggested that the pinball people, when we had that pinball lecture?
Yeah.
And that was such a cool topic. I just think it wasn't
a pinball lecture. That sounds
There was some guys that were coming to town. I think that it ended up getting canceled because of, I think it was just scheduling was weird. And we were going to have like a happy hour thing at Joysticks downtown. And they have a lot of pinball there. And then we were also going to go to like Poison Girl in Montrose because they have pinball there. Basically, it was just a big drinking tour.
Like a pinball crawl or whatever.
But pinball machines have a history to them.
I love pinball.
These guys mainly dealt with the early pinball machines. They weren't dealing with like your modern machines, which I was really excited about, like stuff from like 60s on. vintage pinball machines that, that are just like tabletops. They weren't doing the big giant ones, but stuff like that too. I mean, because a pinball machine, that's like gravity and that's physics.
That's totally physics. Yeah,
right?
100% physics.
I'm not just throwing that out there.
Nope.
Like that works too.
That's physics and engineering and all kinds of stuff. And like I was a pinball like
wizard.
Totally. I was thinking I have that playing in my head right now, which probably isn't the most politically correct song, but I love it.
It's too easy.
But I used to sit at the marina instead of being out in the sun or skiing and swimming. And I'd go into the marina and play pinball for like 5 hours. I love it.
What about an adult education trip to the Golden Nugget? And we just
gambling,
probably find a way,
card counting and
card counting.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we can all get banned from there.
They break my fingers. They break my fingers.
They
with a hammer.
Can talk about what it would take medically to reattach all your fingers.
Yeah. It's just a whole big thing, and then
biotech.
We go on an alligator tour nearby.
Then we can bring James or David and talk about ancient reptiles.
Yeah, let's just really just like shoehorn everything in there. Now we need to take an adult education tour to New Orleans when it gets cooler out.
I could get behind that. The Voodoo Museum. We could talk about all kinds of things.
So one of the things that we want to do is in the next. So earlier we were talking about in the next 7 years, we want to be able to take a major tour to each continent. Well, we also want to do one more local trip, not local, but domestic trip per year. So if you don't have the time or the funds or the interest in going, like, let's say to Antarctica, then that year we would still have another smaller trip that could be done within the United States or pretty close, like down into Central America, maybe up into Canada. So, New Orleans could be one of those things.
I think that would be a great one. And I would love to talk to them all about the cemeteries. I know a lot about all the burial customs. Very exciting. And I would like to volunteer Craig to go to Antarctica. Yeah. And I would thrive there. I will take the continent of Africa. Specifically Egypt, just so you can schedule me in there.
We're still going, so if you want to get in our trip, you have to get in now. So
just drop me off in Australia. I'll be fine. It's just like pretty much looks like Texas anyway. So I'll be fine. Right. Just drop me off in Australia and it's fine. I'll work from here. I'll work from there. I'll just zoom in. So the 7 continents. That's ambitious. That's an ambitious project.
Yeah. And so it's not just the 7 continents in 7 years, but you could really just keep doing that over and over and over, because even within each continent, there's so many things within each to visit. So, because we have a survey set up and we're asking people just to give us their feedback on what places you would want to visit on each continent. Because sometimes there's major things like, I want to visit, Italy. Well, what specifically in Italy do you want to do? The north, the south, the coasts? So one of the things on my bucket list is Ravenna, because they're known for their Byzantine mosaics. And I'm just a huge nerd about that one little specific topic.
I have a Byzantine bean mosaic on my board over here.
Stonehenge, so I'm like, I want to go there. So
Stonehenge would be perfect. Pompeii would be perfect. The Mutter Museum would be cool.
Philadelphia, yep. That would be a good one. Craig, write them all down.
Things.
Write them down.
I'll forget everything.
Email.
I wipe my mind clean when we're done with these. I'm like, what? I just did a podcast. I don't remember that.
We have that in common. My whole brain just goes.
Same.
What's the URL to find out information about the adult education process?
She's gonna have to look at her eyes.
No, I was joking with her earlier. It was just funny because it was kind of like there's no script, so it was just like let's see what.
There is no script.
There we go.
So the short URL is hmns.org/adults plural.
Okay.
Not adults plural, but the word adults in plural.
/education.
And we'll drop it in the comment in the description. Just so you know, I wasn't lying, Ruth. Can you identify?
That's so beautiful. No, I can't.
Okay. Well, it is what you like, but it's made out of lentil beans and black beans.
Nice.
Just like the real, mosaics.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a joke.
We need to get, I'm excited too for the lectures to come back in person too, because the scene for those on certain nights was really cool too. Cause I would sometimes be leaving the museum when the crowd would be showing up, and it would just be this funny confluence of like kids and parents, and then adults. Science folks. And then it was just this really fun. But that's the fun part about the museum, is that there's something for everybody. And you are, and to your point earlier, if we snag you early enough, we will have you for your entire life.
And sometimes we had panels, and sometimes they got spicy, and that was fun.
Yeah. Oh. Well, and in 7 days,
or not spicy, but feisty.
In June, let's see. Yeah. So June 30th. Let me make sure my calendar is correct. Yeah. So next Wednesday at 6:30, we are having Dr. David Kring back for the Asteroid Day update, which there's so many puns, but because we work for a museum, because we work for a museum, there's a limited number of asteroid puns that I can make. But this was so Asteroid Day was started by Brian May, and it became this whole thing about if this asteroid comes and hits the Earth, like basically we're all doomed. So
fun story about Brian May. I don't know if you guys know this or not, or if this is just like inside HMNS information. A few years ago, he visited the museum.
Did he?
He did. It was when Queen was touring with, I guess, Adam Lambert sings. He's Freddie Mercury. He's not Freddie Mercury, but he does a good job. And they were in town, and Brian May came to HMNS.
Saw my loading dock.
So cool.
Yeah, but he wouldn't take photos with anybody and everything. He was very private about, his appearance and everything like that. So, but I was just like, get a picture with Brian May inside the museum. That's perfect. It's like one of the most legendary guitar players ever.
An astrophysicist.
That's another. Let's have an adult education tour when Dead and Company plays in Houston in October, and I'll show people around the parking lot scene, and I'll show them the certain. Me and Kat will
chemistry. There's lots of chemistry opportunities.
Chemistry opportunities. You can
burrito. We can do cultural opportunities. History of grilled cheese.
How deadheads cook grilled cheese on the back of their trucks. Beaded jewelry.
There's lots of directions we could go with that.
Stick and poke tattoos. Did we mention chemistry? Yes, we mentioned chemistry. Clothing. Certain, fashion.
Textiles. Yeah.
Dancing inside or dancing outside with no music, because
dancing in your mind.
There we go. Awesome. See, I'm trying to get the museum to pay for all of the fun things that I love to do. All right, Ruth, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Hit up the adult education group apparatus over there. We also have the Catalyst group for you young and adventurous 20-somethings that are out there that now you guys scare me because you're so young and vital and Catalyst
changing the world.
Welcome to the club, Craig. Welcome to the club.
Scares me. You guys are really great. But yes, Ruth, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Ruth is one of our all-stars at the museum, and get you out there more.
And I just need to know what that picture is behind you before you get to leave. What is that?
One?
Nope. Over here. Nope.
This one?
Yeah.
So this, my husband, one of his really good friends, Walter, is a photographer. And this is like this little waterfall. I think it's somewhere near Antelope Canyon. But he took this photo. There's like this little ladder that's going up this way.
I see that now. Okay.
And it's printed on, it's
like foil?
It's a big type of paper. Yeah, it's like a foiled paper.
Oh, nice.
And he sent that to us. So I was like, oh, I love the colors in here because they
really cool. But I was very distracted by it the whole time. I was like staring over your shoulder trying to make it out. But
I'll send you a better, because that glare is like, I need to get a no glare flexi on there.
Well, it was great having you. This was a fun one.
Ruth,
thanks for having me. I like joining y'all.
Kat, thanks again.
Bye, guys.
See you next week. Next week, we're talking about aliens.
Ooh.